So, good morning, everybody. It's cold out there. Santa's on his way. I guess his regular sleigh is in the shop, so he had to leave early because it's going to take a longer time. So, let's talk about a few things like our mind, understanding, appreciation, two voices, two minds, the ego, of course, and perhaps a few other things. So let's start out with the mind. By changing our mind, we change the most powerful device ever given to us. And with that ability to change our mind, we learn to change our mind about our mind. Only by doing this do we learn that the mind is, in fact, changeless. Okay, so how are we going to do this? I just said that by changing our mind, the most powerful device we have, that we eventually realize that we can't change our mind. And every one of us would disagree with that. We change our mind every day, all the time, every few seconds. And that's why so very few of us move forward, because we believe that we can change our mind. It's one of the many reasons. So what does this mean? Simply, the more we play with the mind, the more we begin to understand it. And the more we understand it, the more we realize what it is. And how do you play with the mind? You go into meditation. That's one of the best ways of understanding, playing with and understanding it. For instance, when we heal ourselves, and I'm talking about healing ourselves physically through metaphysical means, not via magic, which is all the stuff out there that deals with the body. Use this to heal this part of the body, or use that to heal that part of the body. I'm talking about something much deeper. I'm going past the superficial conversation about the body. I'm talking about the mind, and about the fact that we are learning that the mind does not change, because the mind cannot change, because the real mind or right mind is aligned with that which created it, and that which created it does not change, nor does it change that which it created, which is already perfect. It was created perfect and remains so. But because we believe that we are as perfect as they come, or as imperfect as they come, and our mind is the most powerful tool we have ever been given, we develop beliefs that are the opposite of truth or reality. We have free will, remember. Thereby developing those beliefs, we align ourselves with the opposite of that which was created. The opposite being the ego and its beliefs, which are based in lies and lead to most everything we've ever experienced to this day. This planet, this world, was not created by the Creator, what most of us think of as God, because the Creator does not create that which is imperfect, including the mind. And I think we would all agree that this world, particularly at this time, is not perfect. As a matter of fact, it seems to have gone crazy. It has been given over to the domain of the ego, and thus here we are. So we heal by recognizing the changeless mind in another, just as Yeshua did when he lived all those years ago. He saw everyone as perfect. He saw everyone as pure and holy and complete, because that is how he viewed himself. He did not see them as we see others, as failures, as success, nice, mean, morons, important, idiots, special, rich, poor, or any other label. He did not label them because he did not see them only with his eyes. So just like most of us can see in two ways, we can hear two voices. Depending on the teacher chosen, one way shows us fear, while the other shows only truth, which we will love because we will innately understand truth. Understanding is appreciation, because what we understand, we identify with. When we identify with someone or something, we extend emotionally, lovingly, with love. God himself created us in understanding, in appreciation, and in love. The ego, on the other hand, is totally unable to understand, because it does not understand what it makes. Therefore, it does not appreciate it and does not love it. It literally believes that every time it takes something away, it increases. So if attack is not relinquished entirely, it is not relinquished at all. In other words, one way of looking at it is, you like everyone on this planet except this one person. Well, you didn't relinquish attack. Fear and love make or create. Fear makes, love creates, depending on whether the ego or spirit begets or inspires us. That is, depending on whether the ego or spirit is our teacher. But they, fear and love, will return to our minds based on the teacher we choose. And whatever direction we choose will affect our total perception. That includes our concept of God and His creations. For instance, if we believe in the Old Testament teachings that God is a just God, then we have aligned with the ego as our teacher and fear as our guide. If we have chosen to change our mind about what we may have been taught as a child, and I now see God as only a loving being or presence, then we have chosen spirit as our teacher and love as our guide. But the mind that accepts attack cannot love. Period. It's total. So those of us who hold, or believe that we hold, both loving and non-loving, that is attacking thoughts, we are aligned, however unawares, with the ego. Well, how can that be, you might think? All of us both love and hate, feel compassion and get angry. That's just normal. It may be normal, but it's not natural. And it's certainly not of spirit. It's 100% aligned with the ego. The ego brings us up and brings us down. And that's why I've always said there's a big, big difference between happiness and joy. Happiness is of the ego. Joy is of the spirit. Love, truth, power, knowledge, they are all aligned with the divine, and thus they are all whole and complete, and they never, ever, ever change. Where the ego is just the opposite. It wiggles, it moves, it shakes, it fakes, it goes up lovingly, and it goes down angrily. It goes around, it does anything and everything it can to get the advantage, while love, truth, wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and power all remain steady, non-moving, powerful in their beingness. The ingeniousness of the ego to preserve itself is enormous. It is perfectly logical, by the way, but clearly insane. It would have us believe that we can be both loving and non-loving, both loving and hateful, church-going on Sundays while angry every other day. The ego draws upon the one source that is totally inimical to its existence for its existence. Fearful of perceiving the power of this source, which is love, it is forced to depreciate it. This threatens its own existence, a state which it finds intolerable. Remaining logical, but still insane, the ego resolves this completely insane dilemma in a completely insane way. It does not perceive its existence as threatened, and it does this by projecting that threat onto us. And we willingly accept it. Incredibly. Love, however, is our power, which is what the ego denies. The mind, because it is the most powerful tool ever given to us, can make up illusions. And if it does so, we believe in them, because it made them, the ego made them, and that is how it made them, with full belief. Spirit undoes illusions, but without attacking them. How? Spirit does not see the illusion. They are non-existent to spirit because they are nothing, and nothingness has no reality. Further, spirit does not want us to spend any time trying to understand illusions we may have made or any conflict that exists, because they are meaningless. Anything that is meaningless is not understandable, nor worth the time to attempt to understand, because they are always meaningless and therefore not understandable, no matter how much time and effort we give to our supposed problems. You recognize them, and you bless them, and then you let them go. So remember, when we believe something, we have given it life, like a problem. We have made it true for us. Fortunately, what we are is not established by our wrong perceptions of ourselves and others, and thus is not influenced by them at all. Perceived problems at any level are not problems in fact. They are problems of understanding, since their presence implies a belief that what we are is up to us to decide. But this is not true. God created us, and that is what we are. We were created perfect and perfectly. Thus we can be perceived with meaning only by spirit, because our true beingness is perfection and the knowledge of God. The ego, in the world of the ego, is made up. It's made, not created. Only the Creator can create. The ego makes. Therefore, because the ego makes, it is nothing. It has no meaning. It therefore does not exist. We only think it exists because of the power of the mind. We need not try to understand it, because if we do, we are believing it can be understood and is therefore capable of being appreciated and loved. That would justify its existence, which cannot be justified because that which is meaningless is non-existent. We cannot make the meaningless meaningful. So remember this. God's will is unchangeable, and thus no conflict of will is possible. Creation and extension is our will, because we were created by the divine, and it is the divine's will. It is God's will. When in our right mind, we create. Otherwise, we make. So we cannot be totally committed sometimes. Denial of who we are is as total as love. In and of itself, however, denial has no power, but we can give it the power of our mind, whose power is without limit. If we use the mind to deny reality, that's with a capital R, then reality is gone for us. In other words, we are denying who we truly are. Reality cannot be partly appreciated. So denying any part of it means we have lost the awareness of all of it. Think of it this way. Most of us do not remember what heaven is like, because we denied part of it, and therefore we cannot remember any of it. Remember, too, that the mind is too powerful to be subject to exclusion. In other words, we will never be able to exclude ourselves from our thoughts. So we must choose our thoughts wisely. Now, in the past, this may sound like a contradiction, because in the past you have heard me say that we are not our thoughts. Yet just a moment ago I said that we cannot exclude ourselves from our thoughts. So what's up with this seeming contradiction? What this means is this. The thoughts we have, most of the thoughts that we have, are not creative. That is, they are not aligned with the Creator. They are not loving and of love, and they are not who we are, and therefore are not our thoughts. They were made up. So the statement, "you are not your thoughts," applies to the thoughts we have that are not aligned with who we are as we were created. If we entertain thoughts not in alignment with that which was created, then we are thinking thoughts that are meaningless and thus are not real. So the only thoughts that are real are those that are loving, based in love. They come from Source, the source of love, which is what we are. And when we entertain that which we are making up in our mind, that which we are not, the thoughts, having never been created but only made, are illusory and thus not real. And it's only in this world of the make-believe that we can believe that what we made is real. Let's do what we were created to do. And that is to love. So everybody, enjoy your day. Thank you for the opportunity, and Merry Christmas to those who celebrate it, and happy holidays to everyone else. Thank you.